Welcome to my channel, English with Ruth. So you might be wondering, who is this woman? Well, hey, my name is Ruth. I'm a certified English language teacher who also holds a Master of Education from the University of Toronto, Canada. I specialize in teaching the KSSM Form 4 English, Form 5 English, and SPM 1119 Bahasa English. So what can you get out of this channel? Well, I provide 15 minutes of free English lesson every week based on your English textbook in school. To study with me, all you need is your mobile phone, a notebook, and a pencil. Once again, welcome to my channel. Make yourself at home, study smart, and let's have some fun. Are you ready? Let's begin. Alright, let's start with Unit 1. Let's chat page 11 of grammar. Get yourself a notebook and a pencil. As I'm going over the text with you, make sure you take down the notes exactly as you see them presented. Shall we begin? The whole point of this page is to compare with adjectives. So let's take a look at how we can do that. The example sentence is here. My old mobile phone was smaller than this one. Notice that in the example sentence, we're using past tense was. Now, why is that? Well, it's because you no longer have this old mobile phone. That is in the past. So when describing the old mobile phone, we have to use was. So take a look at the right-hand side with the explanation. You can also say A is, was, or will be. Compare it ER then, another object B. So notice that the tense here, it really can change. Choose is, was, or will be, depending on what you're talking about. Is it something in the past? Use was. Is it something that's still true now? Use is. In the future, use will be. In the question form, just change the is, was, will be here and turn it into the question word. Is, was, will be A, smaller than, taller than, bigger than, B. Now it's your turn. Give it a try. Look at this example sentence here on the left. Can you turn it into a question? Hit pause now, write down your answer, and check back with me after you're done. Was my old mobile phone smaller than this one? Question mark. All you have to do is switch this word order around all the way to the beginning. Let's take a look at some more examples. Is Jupiter bigger than Earth? Notice that I'm asking a question about a fact. So, in this case, I need to use the present simple is. Similarly, Tokyo is livelier than Osaka. A is, ER then, B. Follows the exact same format. Now, number 3 is where it gets tricky. When you are talking about a person, comparing two things, for example, K-drama and K-pop, here you have to balance the two things that you are comparing to the left and to the right of then. So the format looks a little bit different. Another example, I'm more interested in English than Spanish. That's just me. How about you? What are you more interested in? Now let's move on. Here are a few things we should pay attention to. In general, we do not ask the comparative form with not or a negative way. It just doesn't sound very natural. Are elephants not taller than giraffes? This sentence sounds something that you would hear uttered by Shakespeare or some really old person speaking English. A more natural way is to directly change what you want to say into the ER form. Instead of not taller than, just use shorter. It's more direct, and it makes more sense. So as you can see, with this sentence format, we usually use it in the positive form, the question form, and rarely in the negative form. Another thing to pay attention to is spelling. When we are using comparatives, there are a few ways to spell our adjectives. For most words, we just add ER. For example, small becomes smaller. But for some words, like consonant, vowel, consonant, or very short vowel words, we have to double the last consonant here. So the correct spelling is B-I-G-G-E-R, not B-I-G-E-R. If you spell it as B-I-G-E-R, the word becomes biger, not bigger. Sometimes when a word ends with Y, to change it into the comparative form, we must drop the Y and add I-E-R. It's true for lively and many other words. Can you think of any other examples? Last but not least, a lot of long and multisyllable adjectives, they do not take ER. Instead, we add more in front of it. More interested, more fascinated, more exciting. Can you think of any other adjectives that take more instead of ER? The next example is this sentence. Uploading a video on the web isn't as difficult as I thought. This is another way to make a comparison. And the form goes like, A is was will, B, not as adjective as B. Unlike the ER comparison, when we are using the format not as, as, here the adjective does not take ER. We use the adjective as it is. Not as tall as, not as difficult as, not as challenging as. For example, here's another sentence. Canada is not as hot as Malaysia. You can simply write it in another form. Malaysia is hotter than Canada. Another example is here. Yesterday's lunch was not as good as Friday's lunch. You can rewrite it and put Friday's lunch first and say last Friday's lunch was better than yesterday's lunch. Notice that good in its comparative form is better. Hey, then how about the word bad? Does bad become badder? I don't think so. Bad actually becomes worse, W-O-R-S-E. So bear in mind these two very tricky adjectives. They do not take the ER form. The next sentence, it's a lot faster to send an email than letter. So the basic format is something, for example, it is, it was, it will be, once again depending on your tense. A little bit or a lot. ER, to or by, A, then B. Let's take a look at a few more examples. It's a little cheaper to travel by bus than MRT. Be careful. When you're comparing using this method, do not say it is very faster to send an email than letter. We do not use very to talk about how fast. We use a little or a lot, not very. So what do you think? Do you think it's a lot easier to study with Ruth than by yourself? Let me know. The next examples are, the more I use the computer, the worse my headache gets. And the last one, I'm starting to think that exams are getting harder and harder. These two examples both show increasingly or decreasingly difficult, tall, happy, whatever it may be. The first sentence here talks about cause and effect. When something happens in the first part, something else changes in the second part. So as you can see, both these examples are talking about increasing or decreasing qualities. For example, the harder I study, the better my grades get. Cause and effect. Another example would be, skyscrapers are getting taller and taller. In this format, getting ER and ER, we are comparing to the main character's own past. Just like in this example, exams are getting harder and harder, meaning I'm comparing the old exams versus the exams now. Some more examples for you. The more I know, the smarter I become. Or, I think smartphones are getting more and more expensive. It's your turn. Give it a try. Next, we'll be covering the tenses for Unit 1. Take a look at both pages 9 and 15. Let's play a quick game. It's called Fill in the Blanks. Your job is to play around with the word rain. It can be rains, it can be rained, it can be is raining. Listen to the sentence and decide which word best fits where. The first sentence, it every afternoon. Which rain form goes in here? The correct answer is rains. It every afternoon. The correct answer is it rains every afternoon. Notice here, it, referring to the general weather, is singular. So my word rain gotta have an S. And we're using present simple because it's repeated. It's always true, and it happens again and again. Let's take a look at the next sentence. It never in Antarctica. That's true, it's too cold. Water just turns straight into snow there. It never rains in Antarctica. The word never is basically a short form of not ever, from the past all the way till now. It's a fact. The place is too cold. Because it's a fact, let's use rains. Next sentence. It right now. Let's look out the window. You're hearing some loud sounds. What's the right word? It is raining right now. It's happening right now. The next sentence. It last night. What word goes in there? The answer is it rained last night. ED. Last night is in the past. Of course I'm going to use past tense. I don't want to time travel. Something that's happening now should not be confused with something that's happened in the past. Another quick game, matching. Super simple. Look at the green words here that indicate time. Now, categorize them to each column. For example, let's do the first one together. If something happens every afternoon, is it a fact? Is it in the past? Or is it this moment? I think it should be, it rains every afternoon, not rained, not is raining. So let's put that there. Every afternoon belongs to it rains. Now hit pause, complete this chart, and press play again. Let's check our answers. Pause the video if you need more time. Here's something we really have to pay attention to about verbs. Not all verbs are equal. For example, verbs that describe an action can take the ing form. For example, I can say, I am jumping now. It's happening right now, I'm jumping. I can also say, I'm singing now. La 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 la. These are all action verbs. But when we are talking about verbs that describe a general condition, the general way that our mind, our body, or a thing is in, these words cannot take the ing form. For example, your health is your body's condition. We don't say, he is having a cough. We say, he has a cough. Another example, we do not say, I am hearing some music. We say, I hear some music. Because hear is a general condition of our body, of our ears. But when we are not talking about the general condition, but a focused, intentional idea, then we can use the ing form. That's why we can say, I am listening to some music. Let's try. I have 2 more sentences for you. Do you say, I see a bird, or I am seeing a bird? Next, do you say, I watch a bird, or I am watching a bird? Ask yourself, which one is the general condition of your eyes? Is it see or watch? Which one is a focused, intentional? The correct answer is, I see a bird. That's a very general statement. But when you're focusing your mind, and there's the bird, I am watching the bird. Next, let's move on to used to and be used to of page 15 of grammar. These 2 phrases look very similar, but the basic idea is this. They are similar only by accident. In terms of meaning, they have not much in common at all. They just happen to look similar. Used to describe something that happened, ed, in the past, but is no longer happening now. For example, he used to play a lot of mobile games, but now he doesn't. I used to live in Shah Alam, but we moved to Cyberjaya in 2018. On the other hand, the form be or get used to, the used to here means more like accustomed to or familiar with. For example, I'm an English teacher, so I'm used to speaking in public. I'm very accustomed to speaking to people. Another sentence, don't worry, you'll soon get used to learning English with Ruth. You will slowly get more and more familiar with the format. Now let's check your understanding. Compare these phones and make 4 sentences. Leave your answers down below in the comment box.
That's all for today. Well done. Don't forget to leave your answers down below in the comment box. Click like, subscribe, and
See you next week.
ciao for now. Bye!